Hello, everyone. Speaking of breaking it down, it wouldn't be a strategic arts plan. I've written us a little song, and I'm going to sing it now. And my guitar's probably out of tune, so all you musicians out there, just find a way to suck it up and make it through the song. We're going to talk about the ASAP and what that means to you and me, and how it fits with the LAA, and what do these acronyms mean anyway. So, thanks for coming and taking this time. And that's the end of this sweet little rhyme. Oh, thanks. I felt somehow so much of strategic planning and talking about, just a sec, I'm going to turn off my amp because it's buzzing. So much of strategic planning and this work that we do becomes dry and less about art and the artist. Everything just toppled over in my office. Um, so I kind of wanted to start it off to say, let's get our creative juices going and really see what this plan can mean and how we can move through what we're thinking we can do as a community and as an artistic community. So that's that. That's why I sang you a little song. LAA means the local arts agency. And Playhouse Arts has been the local arts agency for the city of Arcata since about 2013. Basically, we became that designation on the advice of Libby Maynard, who said it will broaden your funding and your ability to move forward in the future. So I always listen to Libby Maynard because she has a lot of really great ideas. So we have been the local arts agency, and we've been focused primarily on the Creamery District. So the Creamery Festival, and making sure that we started to look at how the principles of creative placemaking can really affect an area, and that look at creative placemaking as not only an economic stimulus, but pride of place and safety and creative expression, and how it affects our children's and our family and the environment, and empathy, and how we can foster community dialogue. So we really sort of employed a lot of things when we started out with the local arts agency, and made a lot of headway, both working in the Creamery District and in the county level planning process. And in 2020, we renewed our status as the local arts agency and started to put our heads up a little bit from the Creamery District and really look at the whole city of Arcata and how that local arts agency can really affect resource allocation and where the funding comes from, and how we can connect all together to increase not only our funding opportunities, but so that we know who's doing what and how we can support people and how we can work together to really the rising tide that floats all boats. And so that's kind of been the focus of Playhouse Arts most recently, is redefining who we are and who we are in connection with the Arcata Playhouse and Playhouse Arts, and who we are as a local arts agency for all the citizens within the city of Arcata, and how we can use some of the principles that we brought forward with the Creamery District, that kind of took it from an area that was underlit, not very many people went to, nobody really was, it was kind of like, oh, it's a sketchy area, to an area now it's pretty vibrant, and it has a lot of arts and a lot of things going on in it. How we do that and how we look at it, not only from the face, like I said, of economic development and tourism, but how we support our community and the people within our community, our education, our environment, and who we are moving forward, that we can look at the local arts agency to be a part of that expression and be a part of decisions that are made in our city, the city of Arcata. So we partnered with the city on the planning process. It had been a while in the works with Susan Ornelas when she was on council. We had talked about it many years ago. And so it's great that this process has really blossomed, and we actually have an Arcata Strategic Arts Plan almost there, and that's exciting. So we're looking in 2021 at developing an advisory group for the local arts agency that will be made of what we're calling building blocks throughout the city. And it it will enable everybody in various communities throughout the city to have input into what goes on with the local arts agency. And so we're in the process of building out that advisory group, and how to build it on not a scarcity model, but on a model of plenty, and how to build it on a model of equity and social justice and environmental justice. And so those are things that we're looking at within that advisory group, how we employ the arts in all of these aspects of who we are as people. Because, well, I can get out my soapbox. I believe so strongly in the arts and their position within our community, and how to make us stronger, better people. That anybody can phone me and I'll talk to them for hours. So we're trying to connect artists to resources, advocating for community arts, building the capacity of the local arts agency to support the Arcata Strategic Arts Plan and some of the goals within that Strategic Arts Plan. So it's an exciting time. There are changes afoot, and they're exciting, large changes. And I'm so happy to see everybody here willing to step into the fray and give their opinions and listen, and hear what's going on, and listen to my song with my out of tune guitar. It's like I haven't been in front of an audience for a very long time. So thanks, everyone. I think that's my spiel about the local arts agency. Fawn, did I miss anything?
I think you captured decades worth of work in 7 minutes quite excellently.
7 minutes? Oh, I got 3 more minutes. Wait, I have another song. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think that's me and the local arts agency, and Fawn's been working with us, and many people have been working with us. So there you go.
Awesome. That was very well said. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if this works. Can you all see this screen that says please participate? Okay, so hang on to your hats. What you're going to be asked to do is go to sift.ly on your phone. Just type in sift.ly, no www, just that. And then you'll be prompted to enter a participant code, which is there on your screen. And I'm going to give everybody just a couple minutes to sign in here. And again, you can do it on your phone. You can do it on your laptop. If for whatever reason it is not working for you, let us know in the chat and we'll attempt to troubleshoot. But likely you will just be asked to drop your information in the chat. So we want to capture that any way that we can. I see 11 devices connected, so we're getting there. 14 connected. $17 connected. Okay. Here's our first question for the team. Who are you representing today? Are you here representing yourself? Are you representing a government agency, a local educator, a business owner? Pretty evenly split, it looks like so far, which is exciting to see. Got some HSU people in the house, but that's our smallest portion. We got business owners coming out, which is great. Educators. And again, if you are trying to join, the code is still here at the top. So if I transitioned before you could get this done, K5DZ.
And I popped it in the chat.
Oh, great. Thank you, David. Okay. Next question. This one is a total easy one. Have you been engaged by city staff in the process so far? Or alternatively, has Playhouse Arts engaged you, but not staff yet? Okay, so it looks like about 2/3 of our attendees tonight have been engaged by staff so far. That's good that we're having at least a quarter of people who have not yet been interviewed or bothered by staff, which is good because we want to hear more from people that we haven't engaged yet. And this is sort of our first opportunity to really get this out to the general public and begin to hear who are we missing? You know, how can we fill in the gaps? Okay, next question. If you make art, what mediums do you work in? And fill this out sort of like keywords. You don't need to write a full long sentence. My name is this and I work in this. Just do collage, sculpture, performance arts, with the idea that we'll do a word cloud at the end to see what we get.
Yeah, Dilo, I see Kimbler's chat. Can you enlarge the results? Could you maybe move to projector mode for these?
Let's see if that's possible. I don't think so.
That changed the screen for me.
Yeah, that looks better, Dilo.
Oh, does it? Oh, fabulous. Okay. So we're seeing quite a lot of answers come in through here. Trends, that's an interesting one. Parades, watercolor, collage, digital illustration, multi-sensory. Somebody who does everything, it looks like. Fiber, literary, circus, video, collage, engineering, that's a good one. All right. So quite the mix here. Looks like painting, dance.
Hit the projector screen again.
Yep.
We're looking at
We're not seeing it.
There you go.
There we go.
Arts, that was a big one. You work in the medium of arts. Dance, performance. All right, that's a good mix from participants today. And let's go on to our next question here. What is your desired outcome that led you to attend this meeting? In other words, what is your hope to get out of this? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to share? What do you want to learn? Arts fundings. How to work together, good one. Gaining an idea of what Arcata has to offer, how to be involved.
I like curious what your plans are. That one's fun.
Connecting students with city and other art projects, great. Help to teach and paint public murals. Ooh, that's exciting. Collaborations with Taoyuan Multilingual Literary Magazine. I'm very excited about that one. More public art and funding. Curiosity, that's coming up. More public art programming. Diversity in decision makers. All right, well, we're slowing down. So I believe this was our last question for this section. Let's see if we can get a word cloud. Here's what people are saying. They're curious about funding, curious about the plan, wanting to connect with the community, and cannabis tourism. Okay, well, thank you all for taking part in our exercise. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and all these results will be available after the meeting when we do our meeting summary, and they'll be on the city website. And we'll do some polling at the end, so nobody's out of the woods yes, but I'm going to turn it back over to Gillen to do a presentation on the goals that have been identified so far.
Yes, hello all. Now I will be screen sharing with you again. Hi. Yeah, so my name's Gillen. I'm a fellow with the city of Arcata. Dilo and I actually both started with the city in the same week in 2019. And we've been the leads on this project with guidance from the city manager's office and community development since then. So since we started in 2019, quite a lot has changed. As Jackie mentioned, Susan Ornelas, the council member who directed staff to draft this plan, has left council. We now have 3 new council members. Our community entered a pandemic in the midst of our planning process, which affected our city budget, the budgets of our partners, capacity across the board, and just the conditions of our whole community. So all of this happening during our planning process just showed us that this plan needs to be flexible, it needs to be nimble, and it needs to be able to adjust to the community's needs, knowing that those may change really swiftly, more swiftly than we may think. So tonight, when I'm speaking with you about these goals, please keep in mind that these are just the proposed goals for the first 3-year planning term, and that we both expect and intend for them to shift with different iterations of the strategic arts plan. So yeah, your input today will help us continue to improve on it. Thanks so much for being here. And as Dilo said, these slides are a bit text heavy, but they're the last of the bunch. This is the last time of presenting at you for the evening, and I can't wait to get to speaking. So just grounding in the beginning of our engagement process, when we started reaching out and listening to the community, we heard from the beginning of the work that the arts already do in Arcata to define and address our most collective, essential community concerns. So I've listed up here just a few of the things that the arts do in the Arcata community. So from this initial framing, we've planned thinking how to support artists and art organizations in doing what they already do. How can we continue to use the arts as an avenue to address all of the challenges facing our community? And how do we ensure that the arts have the infrastructure they need to keep doing what they do? And one of the areas in which we've heard that the arts are already leading the way is in regards to racial equity. So arts and cultural organizations in Arcata and Humboldt more broadly are already working to draw attention to injustices and facilitating conversation and action towards solutions. So organizations like Black Humboldt, Humboldt Asians and Pacific Islanders in Solidarity, Centro del Pueblo, Club Triangle, to name just a few, these organizations are not just creating spaces for traditionally marginalized community members, but they're changing the ways that we all think and exist and build community here in Arcata. So working towards a more equitable city is not named as an individual goal in this plan. It is laced throughout our goals. And it's our belief that by supporting the arts and our arts and cultural organizations, this plan will increase equity here in Arcata. And to ensure that we're staying accountable to that equity commitment, for each of the plan's goals, an approach to equity is included. So before we get into the goals, just where did they come from? We have had 2 primary avenues of data collection so far. The first is this sculpture that you see on the right. It is the Hearing Ear, built by Haley Davis of the Playhouse. Throughout the course of 2019 and 2020, the ear was stationed at significant community sites such as the Farmers Market, the HSU Library, the Sanctuary. For a few weeks in February of 2020, there was an exhibit called Arcata ASAP that had some of the materials from this plan up on the walls, and people could provide feedback to the ear. So we received a lot of community data in this way, and all of the comments dropped in the ear will be made public as an appendix to this plan. And the second avenue of data that we've had access to is a way that I've met many of you on this call, is our stakeholder interviews. So throughout 2019 and 2020, Dilo and I have conducted interviews with 43 stakeholders, talking with directors or representatives of all of these organizations. And these conversations have been an effort to just gain the perspective of those most intimately aware of Arcata's creative sector needs. We as staff stepped into the plan fully cognizant that Arcata's arts community is already working for itself constantly. So we have tried to think, how can we work alongside? How can this plan support, rather than duplicating efforts or creating new structures? So this is the data we've had access to thus far. This is where our goals came from. And tonight kicks off our third avenue of data collection, community listening sessions to get all of your perspective. And then there is also a survey on our website. So for those who couldn't make it tonight, please direct everyone there and to future listening sessions as well. So now I'll just move through our goals pretty quickly and give you a quick overview of how we're thinking about each. So first, equitably increasing arts in public spaces. As I'm sure many of us are aware, a lot of our opportunities to experience public, free, and community art in Arcata are currently clustered around the plaza. However, art and free art in Arcata should not only be available to those who frequent or live near the plaza, they should be spread throughout Arcata and dispersed more equitably. So a primary outcome in this plan is also making, sorry about that. So primary outcome on this goal is also making transparent our city processes for public arts creation and providing equitable review for new projects. And in this vein, prioritizing those projects and pieces that are led by Black, Indigenous, and people of color community members and that uplift and make visible BIPOC identities. And then finally, in this goal, we're thinking of ways to widen accessibility to our current arts and cultural life. So uplifting and increasing those programs that underwrite ticket costs or provide transportation or accessibility help for events. So our next goal, expanding arts education. Throughout our listening process from the beginning, we heard the benefits that the arts have in early childhood education, from everything to help develop motor skills to problem solving. We also heard of the sort of piecemeal way in which California students receive an arts education. So I'm sure we're all aware in the financial crisis, art departments and programs and specialist positions were some of the first things cut, and a lot of those have not returned. I do want to uplift something that Jim Woglem, an arts ed professor at HSU said. I believe he may be on the line, but he just said that here in Humboldt, we have such a strong nonprofits in the arts that work in our schools that oftentimes we don't even notice that this void exists, but it is there. And we do want to recognize here as well that arts education is not an Arcata specific problem, and it's not a problem in which a small city government would normally have a role, but this kind of is the strategy of this plan, naming the names that we've heard the most frequently so that we can all work towards solutions collaboratively and pursue funding. While we've heard of the specific importance of childhood education in the arts, this plan also uplifts the importance of continuing education. So we heard time and time again what the arts do for Arcata's seniors and all ages in just supporting individual growth and learning and community wellness. So summed up once again by Professor Woglem, arts for everyone, all ages, TK through continuing education. The next goal, supporting Arcata's artists. So as we all know, housing in Arcata is expensive, and the limited nature of our city's creative sector economy makes it difficult to be an artist in Arcata. So time and time again, we heard studio space and housing space. The city's 2019 housing element does have language towards artist housing, so this plan just supports ways to make this actionable in years to come. And Playhouse Arts, as the city's local arts agency, has a big role to play in this one. We heard a lot of the disconnect between artists and decision makers. So having this organization that is dedicated to act as an intermediary arts liaison, cutting down on the time artists spend advocating for themselves, will support artists as well. And then other ideas heard in this vein for the plan towards supporting artists involve artist residencies, creative zoning and regulations, and clear and transparent permitting processes, more publicity around arts happenings on both the city and Visit Arcata websites. Our fourth goal here, connecting HSU and Arcata through the arts. So in speaking with our campus community, we've heard that many students, specifically students of color, are feeling unwelcome and even unsafe in the Arcata community. Conversely, we've heard from many non-student community members that they're feeling disconnected from HSU as an institution. Furthermore, even though art is one of HSU's largest majors, many students are not seeing pathways to creative sector employment or portfolio building opportunities around town, which is leading to an annual loss of artistic talent from our Arcata communities. So this plan uplifts opportunities for service learning projects, internships, et cetera, in the arts that can build those off-campus connections that can lead to entry-level service creative sector employment. And here on the slide, you actually see student signatures on a mural that was completed this summer. Some of our HSU students got credit for helping with this mural and learned from a local muralist, Ben Goulart. So just a win-win project on all sides, and we'd love to see more of that. We're also thinking in this goal of the physical transitions on and off campus. So we've heard from students that the walk off campus is just marked by a lack of adequate lighting, a lack of art generally, And from the other side, we've heard from community members that accessibility and getting up to HSU with the hills and parking situation is a difficulty. So thinking about how the arts can create safer walking conditions on and off campus, and just how we can better cross promote events on campus and off campus between the city and the university, and how we can better partner in accessibility planning for those events. And then finally, here are our last two goals, and these are just the back end, like how are we making this all come to be? How are we making this happen? So the first, this plan is used as a tool to secure funding for the arts in Arcata. As I'm sure we're all aware, foundations and grants from government agencies are crucial to Arcata's arts and cultural life, and this piece has become even more important with COVID affecting budgets. And then finally here, just the city and Playhouse Arts have a formalized relationship, and we have designated an organization to ensure a vital presence for the arts throughout the Arcata community. So once again, these two goals just support the logistical implementation of the first four. And those are our 6 goals. Public arts are increased equitably. Every Arcata resident has access to a quality arts education. Arcata works to become a financially feasible place to live and work as an artist, and the arts function as an avenue of connection between HSU and the broader community as the first 4. So yeah, thanks so much for letting me talk at you for a while, and really looking forward to speaking with you more and hearing your thoughts throughout the rest of the evening.
Also, I just want to say for the record, we're perfectly on time, which never happens. So big pat on the back. Okay, so what we're going to do now is Jen is going to pop us all into breakout rooms. Our staff and Playhouse Art staff will be facilitating and taking notes. We're going to be asking you 3 questions that basically run through your feelings and thoughts and ideas about the goals, and also asking questions about who and what seems to be well represented and who and what is not well represented yet, and what ideas do you have for how to ensure that we do better. So that's how we are going to do this. One other important thing is, if you get to 20 minutes and you're all talked out, you can come back to the main session, and Jen will facilitate a review of all of the project ideas we've heard through the interviews so far. So if you want to discuss your actual project ideas, knowing that it's just a communal dreams list and not a to-do from the city, that is also an option. So we have 35 minutes, and we will give you a 5-minute warning when it's time to come back to the main group. Okay.
Were you all there all this time?
Yeah, did anybody come back early? Raise your hand.
One single person came back early. We had no
wow.
one come back early.
We had a
that's
great
good.
conversation.
Sounds like it.
Okay, so is everybody back at this point? Jen, can you confirm? Okay, so in the interest of time, we are actually not doing report outs at this meeting. You're just gonna have to wonder what everyone else said, and
Just gonna have to come back.
Yeah, talk to each other in the real world or something. So we're gonna get back on meeting sift for a couple of closing questions before we go to Q&A. So I'm gonna share my screen and get out your phone. Screen 2. Okay, here we are. First question. What is the #1 outcome of your discussion of the plan that is most exciting to you, or could most benefit you as an artist or your art serving organization in Arcata? No wrong answers. And we're going to leave this up for a few minutes because there are only 2 questions. So, don't write a novel, but we'll be patient. Increase in human rights awareness, work opportunities, free art and funding for artists, civic collaboration with the local arts agency, teaching new artists, making art accessible, more collaborations, equity in tourism and connecting with HSU, a grants liaison, we talked about that, and creating an art liaison person, either with Playhouse or in the city. Goal #2, I don't even remember off the top of my head what goal number 2 is.
Art said, baby.
Art said, okay, thank you, Gillen. Art said, creating connections, community, funding, art valued and prioritized in our community. That was exactly what Susan Ornelas wanted to come out of this. And she's not even here to say that. So that warms my heart. Connections between organizations. Solidify sustainable funding opportunities. I like that. Funding definitely came up a lot in our group. I'm sure we all talked about that in our own ways. More art education jobs. All right. Seems like everyone was really quick to answer. Scholarships. Okay, we have 37 devices connected and 34 answers. So I'm going to give it 30 more seconds in case somebody wants to pop on here since we're doing so good on time. Okay, that's 30 seconds. Do you agree personally that the goals we've identified will be a good start for the first plan term? So you have some options. Are you kind of neutral? Do you feel like we're hitting the mark? Are we off the mark? And if you're answering somewhat disagree or disagree, please feel free to drop your idea of an additional goal that really should be identified in the chat, and we'll think through those after the fact and see if there's a way to incorporate those into the final draft. Okay, we've received about half input. Okay, we're getting a lot of neutrals, a lot of agrees, a lot of somewhat agrees, a couple of somewhat disagrees. Let's see what's coming in the chat for that.
If you don't feel like outing yourself in the chat, you can go ahead and send us an email as well.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, we don't need to make you out yourself. Or you could take our survey too, which is anonymous.
Ned, is that true? Wow.
Okay, that concludes our polling. Thank you, everyone. We so appreciate you. And I'm going to stop sharing now so you can all look at everyone's beautiful faces. I see my friend has her cat, which is nice. Beautiful thing about Zoom. Okay, so I'm just gonna run through a couple of next steps and then we'll do Q&A. So if you want to stick around, feel free to. If you have other things to do, feel free to go. Thank you for coming.
Before anyone goes, I'm just going to pop in the chat really quick a Google form survey, just a demographic data survey to just see who we're reaching in engagement and what communities in Arcata we need to do better with and try better with.
Also put in your email in the chat because so Gillen has this listserv of people who are interested in keeping up to date on our meetings and where the draft is at. If you would like to be added so you know when the next meeting is, please email her. And we're hearing we need permission for the form. So whoops, we just put it up today. So put your emails in the chat or email Gillen and we will make sure we send it out to you once we've gotten through that technical detail. Okay, Gillen, anything else I should say?
Nope, I'm working on form permission currently. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So next steps, we had originally planned to do a series of follow-up listening sessions, specifically targeting some of the identified goals, arts education, art in public spaces, and supporting local artists. We likely will do sort of a mashup of those, or we may have just one additional one that will cover all three of those goals. The challenging thing is that we've waited a while to release the plan and we're going to miss all the students. So we want to make sure that we're capturing their input as well, since they're such a huge part of our community. and don't want to try and engage them in the middle of finals. But we will be having the survey released and likely at least one additional listening session before the draft goes for the council. Every council meeting is an open and public meeting. You'll be able to attend that meeting and provide comments. It's limited to 3 minutes per person. So it's definitely best to attend these sessions or fill out the survey if you want to get in all of your thoughts. But that being said, that's an additional opportunity for you or people that you know to come and tell the council how you feel about it, why you think it's important, and how we should prioritize this as a city goal if it's important to you. So that is the next steps. And now we're just going to open it up for Q&A unless Jackie or David or Fawn or Gillen or Jen has any kind of final closing thoughts that they want to leave us with.
I see a hand raised already. So
Yeah,
let's see if I said that right.
Yep. Yeah, I guess, I just want to thank everyone for, taking the time out to provide feedback and join us tonight. It was a really great conversation, and happy to hear your thoughts. So thank you.
I didn't actually mean to raise my hand. I was looking at the chat.
Do you have something to say though?
Oh, I mean, this is great. And I think that we need affordable housing more and like maybe a UBI or something in order to actually like let people do their thing.
What's a UBI?
Universal basic income is what
Yeah.
that means.
Wow. Got it.
Yeah. Because otherwise a lot of this is probably gonna be pretty hard. And like, to actually create true equity and to make up for, I don't know, intergenerational trauma, it would be the most fair to let everyone be artists if they needed to. So it's kind of just a wealthy thing sometimes. People with like privileged backgrounds have enough time to create stuff. So yeah, anyway, didn't mean to raise my hand, but
Thank you for sharing and using your cat's paw as like an additional emphatic gesture to your point. You're like, inequity with the cat. At least he's my friend, so I can say that. Any other questions?
What are some of your ideas to address your goals that you stated?
That is where our project list comes in. There's a list of every project that we've heard thrown out there in our engagement process so far, which we are also calling the communal dreams list or the database of stuff that needs doing. So there are many projects codified in there that the city, our partners, or the community can take up on within the plan's first term or terms to come.
Did we show them that, Jen?
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you want me to share that list? It's a lot, so be prepared, everyone.
And I made it all different kinds of fun colors.
Can you see it?
Yeah, could you maybe like full screen it?
Let's see. Oh, that is full screen.
Well, you could go to slideshow, like present.
Oh yeah, hold on.
Dila was like, I'm going to fit this on one slide. And I was like, you're not going to fit this on one slide.
I was
She
like,
did.
watch me.
No, it's not letting me. No, I don't want to present online.
Well, just try it. Just hit present from beginning and see what happens. Oh, it's so little. Okay.
Yeah, it just makes it smaller.
Okay. Well, okay. So this is the explanation of what this list is. These are not prioritized, and we are not blessing them saying that we are going to undertake them as the city. That being said, these are things that could be undertaken in partnership, and these are all fabulous ideas that we have heard from the people that we've interviewed. And some of these would be pretty low-hanging fruit for city staff to take on, including things like creating an art section of the Visit Arcata webpage, or city staff partnering with schools to do field trips to Bayside Park Farm. Like, these aren't all things that we need a ton of budget to undertake. But some of these things would be very clearly outside of our purview. So this is our list so far. We're taking additions. We're calling it the Community Dreams List / database of things that needs doing, because that is what it is at this point. But what I was talking about in my group is having the structure and having the energy and making the connections is really such an important step in getting things done.
And I see that Professor Woglum has popped something in the chat. All the ideas thrown out in the chat tonight and in the breakout rooms that we are taking notes for, I will pop onto this list. And if anyone has project ideas that they specifically want me to stick on there, my email has been in the chat a couple times, but I will put it in a third time.
And Kimberly White also asked if the list is available. It currently is not, but it will be posted to the city website with the draft plan sometime in the next couple of months. Probably not until we've done the next listening session, but maybe we'll just continually update it. I don't think we've decided yet.
Are there any? Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
No, who else was going?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, I know that you guys like cross-referenced other cities' arts plans. And so I was wondering if there were any that you thought were like the most comparable to what you think is possible, or like which ones you kind of drew the most inspiration from. Maybe like, I don't know.
I think it's really important to recognize that the process that we're going through right now is really the open engagement part. We'll bring this information back to the council, and so the structure of it, and what's included, and the policy that it outlines, the measures that we ultimately actually take from this, those are all in part in draft form right now, and ultimately the council will make decision as to what gets included in the final plan. So I think to Dila's point earlier, this is really open format, and we can really capture a lot of information in these kinds of settings. If you feel passionate about something in particular, it's going to be important for you to go to those council meetings and let the council know directly. Just wanted to point that out so people don't walk away from this thinking like all of this is going to be part of the plan and that we're going to commit to doing all of this work.
Totally. So Gillen probably has an answer to that question too, Trillium, but one that we looked at a lot was Sacramento's arts plan. It's huge and not exactly comparable in scope, but it's excellent. And they did a great job on their outreach.
Yeah, and then other ones that we liked, I mean, gotta lift up our neighboring Eureka. They kicked it off with an arts plan. That's awesome. That's a huge motivator for why our staff and council got this going. So gotta shout out them. But then otherwise, Providence, Rhode Island, I really like Providence's creative capital plan. Sacramento's creative edge plan was awesome. Those were two that we really looked at. And then Seattle's public arts structure was another thing that we really drew from.
Sacramento, Seattle, and what else?
Sacramento, Seattle, and Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, okay.
It'd be interesting to hear though from other, I mean, one of the things we looked at too was some rural areas that we looked at before was some rural areas through the rural assembly, what they were doing with arts and arts agencies in small rural areas, because we are a bit of a different bird than Sacramento, as we know, but especially looking at equity and inclusion and scarcity and resource allocation. Those kind of things come up a lot in rural plans where the funding isn't always the best in rural America. So how you look at that, and talking Trillium, I don't know an actual name because it just says Trillium. Is that your name, Trillium?
No, I'm Taylor. I'm sorry. That's my school email.
Hi, Taylor.
Okay.
Looking at how we're actually going to enact these things, that's the fun part of having these dreams and looking at these things, but what they actually how they're actually implemented and how they actually move forward. That's going to be the fun part that I think is going to take a lot of hands on deck. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to back that up, totally cognizant that, in rural areas, we do have a different structure and infrastructure for how, even when resources come in, how we can capitalize on those and make them actionable. So yeah, definitely thinking those things through, and thanks for bringing it up.
I was just going to say, I don't know if this is the most comparable, but I think it actually is useful. I think looking at some other countries, and I know that Yeah, gasp. Take that, but take that with obviously with a grain of salt, because yes, we're in America. All right, there's limitations. However, I've having lived in a bunch of other countries and like done some minor work in city arts, I do think Arcata is still fairly unique in the level of integration of some of our organizations and our ability still to like turn things out pretty rapidly. I know that we're struggling in a lot of ways, and that is what it is. But I've often looked to the UK and just some of the things they've done in a lot of like their post-industrial towns. And in some ways, I actually think that we culturally kind of follow some of their trends almost. I can speak more specifically about this another time, but certain trends we've kind of been like with them in some ways. And so it might be useful to look at some small towns in Northern England, in my opinion.
Yeah, you should look at them and bring them forward to us.
Yeah,
How's
drop some
that for being
specific
like,
names
yes, what a
in
great
the
idea.
chat. Yeah,
Birmingham.
like Liverpool. Where is it?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. Liverpool, Birmingham is the first one that comes to mind. But let me look at my map.
Yeah.
Birmingham is like strongly coming to mind, and I'll stop and then I'll email you guys later.
Yeah, in terms of international cities that we had brought up to us and looked into, Lisbon was one that frequently was put in our minds.
It's the San Francisco of Europe, so that makes sense.
There's one in Colorado. I'll have to ask someone, I can't remember it, but their whole town is downtown is filled with sculpture on every block, and they have all the, I can get that to you. I'll make a note.
Calder Johnson might know that too. He's been doing.
That's it. You just mentioned it's Grand Junction. You said something that had Grand in it. Okay, it's Grand Junction, Colorado.
I don't know how worth mentioning this is, but I got a grant to go to other cities just to look at what their arts culture is like. And so probably if it ended up being relevant to somebody on the city council or who works in this capacity for the city, you could get a grant to go to another city and look at it just to check it out.
Sounds like my kind of grant.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet grant.
What's the grant source?
California.
Asking for a friend.
California arts. It's Cali. California art something integration. I'll email it to you.
I find it very exciting to talk about the arts in Arcata for this long with this many people. So thank you for that.
I think we're at about the time we had originally planned, correct, Elo?
That is correct.
And Gillen? So I do want to respect everyone's time. I think, staff is willing to stay on for a little bit and, answer any questions or, brainstorm some more, but also want to recognize that some folks might need to go do other things. So we'll put a formal cap on our meeting at this point. Again, yeah, just really thank you for coming out and, and providing your input and talking with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And it won't be the last time, so keep an eye out.
Thank you so much, all, especially to all those who gave their time for interviews too. I know we've, taken so much of your words and wisdom, so thanks so much.
Yay, art.
Yay, art.
Yeah, good stuff, guys.
And please don't be shy about following up via email.
Yeah, and thank you, Laura, for the grounding. That was fabulous. It's good after a long day of Zoom.
That was pretty awesome.
I loved it. I think we should
We're
do
gonna
that for
start
every meeting.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna start inviting you to all our meetings.
Hey.
Aw, Joe, you got a friend.
Joe, that's such a cute dog. I didn't know you had a dog.
I know that's a handsome dog. Oh my God.
Mini Aussie Shepherd or normal Aussie Shepherd?
Joe, you're on mute, you goof. We
You're
can't hear you.
muted, but you're also holding an Aussie Shepherd, so
Yeah,
that's
this,
understandable.
this is the one that's related to Rick.
Ah, Mini Aussie Shepherd. Yeah, it's Skipper's brother. Right.
Luca. She loves kombucha. Actually, it's
Ooh.
a he, but sometimes she.
It's a beautiful dog.
We love a gender non-conforming dog.
So Ben, now I know what you look like. This is Alex. I had no idea. We've
Yeah,
been in
Alex, put your
correspondence,
video
no
on
idea.
so he can see you.
See me? Oh my gosh. I don't look very, I look better in that other picture.
You look
You
fantastic.
look
Hey.
Fabulous,
beautiful.
darling. Fabulous.
So, whatever.
Face
So
to
are.
face.
it's nice to see who you are. So thank you.
The
We'll see
after
more of
party,
each other.
people.
I hope so.
Did anybody have any questions? People who are sticking around?
You know, I did. I wanted to say that if there's, I noticed that a number of times, a couple of people had said, you know, arts education, arts education, arts education, and I've been an art specialist for a really long time, and I worked with the preliminary sort of arts prototype program for Los Angeles Unified School District. Massive, massive initiative. And we helped develop and beta test all the art standards for California. And that is so doable. We could get arts in every school in Arcata without too much money. And I would love to talk.
We would love to talk too.
Yeah, I
Yes.
would love to talk.
Yeah, Daphne, are you up for interview round 2?
I just would love to have a conversation about what that could look like and how we could make that happen. Because I think that, you know, with all of these plans and all of these ideas, starting with the next generation and giving them equitable access to the arts, you know, because then, sorry, my Aussie is barking. They're cute until they bark. So that's a great way to bring equity, because then you can also connect with families. You can have arts nights through the schools where families come in and get to make art, and those are maybe non-arts people who then get to start understanding what the arts are about, and then maybe they're more interested in connecting with arts events across the city. And it just could be a really wonderful starting place if that's a goal. And you know, this is the work that I've done. I've started several arts programs in schools. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to you guys about it anytime.
Awesome.
I'd love to talk to you as the local arts agency too, out as that person, the organization within the structure of the ASAP.
But only if you sing another song, because that was awesome.
Okay, I sure can. I can sing you.
Seriously, that was my favorite thing in any Zoom meeting I've been in, because it made me so happy. I've been in Zoom meetings since like 8 this morning, so it was awesome.
Daphne, call me, Daphne, call me, Daphne, call me, and we will talk. Daphne, call me, Daphne, call me, Daphne, call me, and we will talk.
Love it.
That's happening.
Jackie, you're going to be invited to our meetings too going forward.
Yes, I will write a song if someone else.
So from Richard, would you put yourself up? I would love to see what you look like. I know I see your sign downtown, Exit Theater. I guess not.
Putting him on the spot.
He must have gone away because I asked.
Jackie,
No,
where do I
he's
get
still
your
there.
information?
Pardon?
Where do I get your, oh, there it is. Never
It's
mind.
Jackie D, like you've been jackied, at arcataplayhouse.org.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Bow, Jackie.
It's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, I tried to put up the video, but evidently it's not working.
Well, at least we hear you, so that's
We're a creative group, so we'll just imagine what you look like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm hitting start video, but no video, so cannot start video. Okay, so that's it.
Can you explain what Exit Theater is?
Thank you.
Exit Theater is a 40-year-old theater in San Francisco. We run 5 small venues that run from 25 seats to 80 seats in the Tenderloin neighborhood of downtown San Francisco. Basically, we're a place where independent artists can come and perform. So we don't have a particular type of theater that we do. We're a resource for artists to perform. And we're developing a theater right now on the plaza above the mattress store.
Awesome.
The old yoga studio where I used to do yoga.
Yeah, where there was a yoga studio for 20 years. And on the back side of it is Aikido martial arts.
Right. So there's a fellow across the way that's in what would have been considered Arcata Stationers for us to know where it is. And he's been doing some kinds of things around the arts. Is anyone here in touch with him?
I'm in touch with some of the people who are doing things in that space,
Okay.
but I'm not positive of which individual you speak.
The thing is
I don't know. I don't know. I ran into the plumber in the alley, and he told me I should talk to the person renting the space. Okay. And I think his name starts with a J.
Jake Glazer.
Jason or something of that nature.
Jake Glazer.
Jake Glazer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to add one thing. I know that she jumped off, unfortunately, and I'm not even remembering her name right now, but the one who is saying, we could do arts education.
Daphne.
Daphne, she's so cool.
Yeah, she's working at, hi, Richard. We
There
can
you
see
go.
you now.
Oh, there's Richard.
Yeah,
Yep.
Daphne's currently at Lolita School.
Yeah, so anyway, there was this thing I heard yesterday on a webinar where it was about arts education, and what they said was it's important to find the critical points of interruption in the existing system in order to change outcomes in a meaningful way. And it was specifically in relation to equity. And I feel like education is such an important critical point of interruption. And I'm glad that people are jazzed on us including that, because I feel like it's really important.
Big ups to goal number 2.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Richard. In case I see you on the street, I'll know who
Okay.
you are.
I know we
Yes.
all will know.
Richard.
I know that's sort of, you walk down the street, even though people have masks on, you can sometimes tell by their eyes, and with you, maybe by your glasses. So I'll be looking for you.
Well, let me see here if I have my my mask.
But I don't know what Cora looks like at all. Pretty well hidden.
That's Joanne McGarry.
So we have a little exit
Oh,
theater
okay, thank you.
masks. Whoops, there you go.
Oh, nice.
And I know what you do.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool. Very nice.
All right, guys, I think we're done with our questions. I feel like we're ready to call this meeting. Is that okay
Yeah.
with everyone?
Thanks for sticking around for the after party. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was like. Thank you.
Let's do
Bye.
it again. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Cora.